My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is Frontier Airlines. That's Frontier. Cross people. License 8, Yolanda Xavier Frank 750, and that's the Ontario Police Department. Understand that. The police are gang stalking while the entity is vicariously targeting. On the roads and the highways, being outside. And what they tend to be doing, I'm digging in my trunk. They're always studying their devices while they're doing whatever they're doing. License plate 8, Robert Edward Sam 036. And this is the entity that's gang stalking. For Frank Paul 698. License plate 8 Uncle Jerry Kelly 251. And Union Pacific is the guys where the entity is stalking. It's as well as I walk down the street, the entity blaring train activity, which is not going to be heard while even the entity is using the train tracks that is what will be south of B Street and Fern right here. That's the entity amplifying train activity. Stalking in the path. This is a demon leaving a vehicle, stalking in the path with light is what is here. And this is I want to be clear. The evidence of the fake sun is relevant for what Rock of Faith is engaging in, which is criminal monitoring. What Rock of Faith is engaging in criminal monitoring at 325 B Street is what the rest of the people of the state are engaging in. And that's how you're using a facilitating venue where you're subject to gang stalking by Frontier Airlines, that is the entire airline industry, at any time of day or night where the fake sun is present, as I already have on the record, in the morning, 7 a.m., in the evening, afternoon, after 4 p.m. It is flying much more west beyond the OVITT Family Community Library and the John Stewart apartments, and they're engaging in this ongoing stalking through the neighborhood, have yet to engage in a takeoff where the people are stalking. This is the pacing. License 9XBB112. And this is the people of the state that are being federally prosecuted. Remember what Southwest Airlines is doing flying over Rock of Faith. What Alaska Airlines is doing flying over Rock of Faith is gang stalking. And this is Delta Airlines, and it's the prosecution, Rock of Faith. 325 West B Street, where the entity engaged in criminal defamation upon federal group stalking and monitoring, which is why they are going to federal prison. It includes Eddie, the gang stalking homeless that are monitoring me at these venues. They're going to federal prison while you're looking at Delta Airlines and Frontier Airlines gang stalking me at the same address. And this is the P.O.C. at what is 6:05 a.m. where that entire neighborhood is engaging in that shared, documented criminal act of terrorism. The entity defames you while gang stalking you to not only psychologically torture you, but to kidnap you with the ones that you know are stalking, the Ontario Police Department. At this same venue, where the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, where a gang stalking police department is engaging in surveillance on the roads and the highways, and that's the disbanding of those gang members that you saw stalking me at Wendy's last night. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It is currently prosecuting the entire population. These are welfare receiving, prospective immigrants who are going to be subject to deportation, loss of HUD housing. The government that's providing what is support for gang stalkers to engage in the P.O.C. They're flying over your house. Everybody in that household is being prosecuted. This is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 6:06 p.m. Victor Frank Yolanda 250B. This is a Sinaloa, Mexico license plate. The documentation of the people of the state where they are monitoring. P.O.C. is currently 6:06 a.m. This is psychopathic pacing. Frontier Airlines, Delta Airlines, and Airlines. Yeah, P.O.C. This is the pattern of conduct, and it is with a mentally ill pattern of conduct. Remember, this is what the entity is doing still over the Stater Brothers parking lot at the same elevation, where UPS is doing a cartwheel in the middle of the parking lot of Stater Brothers, where the entity is at a venue where the fake sun is remaining until the end of the day, is the pattern of conduct that you know the airline industry, including Frontier Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines are engaging in, which is the engagement in that criminal system by a neighborhood that's engaging in the conspiracy to murder someone that is not a stranger to them. That is one that they are stalking, okay? This one's engaging in serial stalking. He's typically engaging in surveillance while the airline industry, the military, is stalking. He's going to prison. All right, that's the same Jeep parked at this location on this street. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. And he also goes out of his way to gang stalk me on the roads and the highways when I'm not even walking down this street in order to cross path. He is very much intentionally engaging in that, and he's going to be intentionally put in federal prison for it. It is Fern and B Street at what is 6:07 a.m., where this entity also engaged in what is assault with a deadly weapon occurred right here across the street from Rock of Faith, where it's covered in engineer light, and that's not sunlight, where the sun is over me at over the top of my head after 4 p.m. Okay, where the entity is maintaining the fake sun literally at this venue, and it's 6 o'clock. That is to suggest that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 hours from now is where Delta Airlines is being federally prosecuted for treason, terrorism, and being prosecuted as a sex offender. They are engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder while that airline maintains no flights with passengers on it headed to any destination, while the military is using Delta Airlines, which is Delta Airlines gang stalking me in furtherance of murdering me, while the military uses it to engage in gang stalking me with a whole population that surrounds. And the population is engaging in that P.O.C., okay? This is a demon that's light, just like I stated, going in your trunks, monitoring is in relevant position. That's Engineer Light on the facilitating venue of the House. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. These are demons that are being prosecuted as a city. It is currently 6:09 a.m. This is at B Street in Fern. This is the entity that's stalking through the neighborhood, and this is the evidence of Stater Brothers stalking me while I'm inside of that grocery store, which is terrorism that the same entity is engaging in, and all of the employees at every level, regardless of your schedule, you are going to prison. This is the pattern of conduct. And this is an entity that's not knocking on the bathroom door at the grocery store, ignorant about whether you're in there or not. Those are the predators that are engaging in criminal monitoring in bathrooms. And they engage in that method of psychologically torturous, threatening, and sexually motivated surveillance. And you're going to prison for that. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:09 a.m. while you're always keeping in mind where I'm going as they're stalking me and where I'm coming from as they're stalking me and what they already know while that pattern of conduct is underway as you arrive to any venue. This is P.O.C. All right, this is Southwest Airlines and this is gang stalking Vos Church. Covered in Engineer Light. Gang stalking by hovering over the people are stalking at 121 North Vine Avenue under the fake sun as an entity, including on the roads and the highways, monitoring and furtherance of murder. That's surveillance. This is the pattern of conduct. The entity is also gang stalking at Vos Church, where the fake sign is on the opposite side of this same Vos Church on Holt Boulevard after 5 p.m., where the U.S. military is stalking me by helicopter, and the people of the state, including Omnitrans, are engaging in surveillance on the roads and the highways. And that video will be attached to this one, and this is the prosecution of the corporate entity, Vos Church, another gang stalking fake church full of demons, engaging in the pattern of conduct with the government and with the people of the state who do not congregate, and they're equally demon-possessed. P.O.C. 7J10398, 8AJX535 are stalking by virtue of what is the scientific evidence of the sun that's not going to be over me on this street at Hope Boulevard and Vine Avenue after 5 p.m., which is what is on the record. While the entity is flying circles over me by helicopter in the same manner that Southwest Airlines is gang stalking me in this engineered environment, which is the prosecution of corporate entities as sex offenders, while the entity is stalking me in the absurd and psychologically torturous manner as using planes in the specific environment. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of Frontier Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, and Southwest Airlines that are stalking as I'm walking through the neighborhood, which is the prosecution of the entire industry. And those particular companies are going to be federally prosecuted for terrorism and being exhausted with damages, which is also establishing the threat that they pose to the world because they are crossing state lines and they're going outside of the United States, engaging in this terrorism with the United States military as well. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:14 a.m. where Southwest Airlines is stalking me at the Stater Brothers entrance. Southwest Airlines and Stater Brothers are together being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the beautiful evidence of the entity that is monitoring documentation. That is, not only are they targeting, they're aware that they are targeting in furtherance of murder in front of the world. One that is putting it on video, which is not explaining it, but it's giving context as to why you're engaging in a U-turn as though you're not stalking. That's supposed to be that suggestion. I surmise not that any American citizen that's being gang stalked has to try to apply any sort of logic to mentally ill behavior, such as stalking in planes. This is Emporia Place, which is John Stewart Company, again, that is gang stalking, the corporate actor that's engaging in the P.O.C. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct while the entity is stalking, by which I've documented as a pattern of conduct, doing a U-turn over the Emporia Place while the fake sun is working off of the windows of that apartment complex where there are no flights not headed to a destination, just like Southwest Airlines, just like Delta Airlines, United Airlines, and Frontier, that are hovering, stalking under the fake sun, which is the entity engaging in that. And to engage in what is then taking off seconds later, where you are not engaging in any sort of flight from the airport at this elevation, at this distance, and the entity is engaging in this with the people. Okay, license 6 Edward 40464. This is the stalking that's under roads and the highways while the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct. That which is reflecting off of the apartment building is speaking to the fake sun that's over my head after 5 p.m. on this street, and it's relevant that the entity is engaging in a U-turn, no passengers, no destination, stalking. And Southwest Airlines, no passengers, no destination, stalking with the people who break into the bathroom at the Stater Brothers, monitoring my vagina, engaging in surveillance with those employees who are going to prison. Okay, Southwest Airlines is stalking me at the entrance, where they're already at the parking lot waiting for me to show up west of this location, and Southwest isn't flying over HOLT. Southwest is flying over the parking lot over my head as I walk in and out, and so is Delta Airlines. So is UPS. So is the airline industry. License 7 Kelly Henry George 740-53800 Edward Ford. Documented this terrorist before. This is all serial stalkers are going to prison. License 62680 Uncle 2. P.O.C. Stalking on the roads and the highways. License 8 Mary Wendy 627. This is a mentally ill population of co-conspirators of murder who are going to be subject to deportation if they're not even from this country. You're not born in this country and you're here engaging in terrorism with the mentally ill that are stalking in planes. The airline industry that's going to be federally prosecuted for terrorism of an American citizen, which is going to result inevitably in the removal from the existence of corporate entities that are engaging in terrorism, profiting from surveillance, criminal surveillance, conspiracy to murder. The government that's framing American citizens for criminal activity that they did not commit and stalking them in these airline planes is the entity that's going to be committed. Okay? That's the P.O.C. It is currently 6:18 a.m. Alrighty, this is the P.O.C. The entity is stalking by plane activity. What I'm documenting, stalking from, remember, Delta Airlines, Frontier Airlines, United Airlines, they're stalking along the street that I'm walking on, which is the street that the fake sun is along as well. You're looking as I migrate to Holt Boulevard, that is migrate south, so does the stalker in the Southwest Airline plane and the entity that's engaging in the U-turn over the John Stewart Company, Emporia Place. This is the entity migrating as I migrate. So this is the clear progression, the clear evidence showing stalking, following from place to place, but it's more specific than that. It's more psychotic than that in detail. The entity is monitoring, and this is literally the evidence to have the gang stalkers using planes and the gang stalkers stalking on the roads and the highways with those using planes committed. This is that mentally ill pattern of conduct, and you're looking at that progression as I travel in the same direction east, but I go south to Holt Boulevard from B Street, and so do the stalkers and the planes. And using traffic is a means of engaging in that same progression under that fake sun. These are the living dead. These are the demons that are going to be subject to commitments while they're engaging as a population. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. where the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct on the roads and the highways under that fake sun with the airline industry that's engaging in that. And that's the prosecution of MIG Real Estate, of GI Partners, of what is the John Stewart Company, of what is Sarah's Regis Group, of Wells Fargo, the College of Laverne University of Law, the City of Ontario, that's the Ontario Senior Center, the Ontario Town Square, the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entities engaging in criminal surveillance and then stalking me as I leave that location, where they're engaging in surveilling me all night long, just like you witnessed overnight, where the entity is stalking by helicopter. Everybody already knows what this is. And what is the point of this evidence on the next day? Because the entity is going to compensate me. It is being impoverished. It is transferring everything that it has gained and maintained and owned, acquired through criminal surveillance, murder, theft, criminal activity. And while also keeping me oppressed, literally affecting my life. But this is an entity that's going to compensate me as it is a criminal. The entire fire department is being relieved from its services. It's not a fire department, and none of them will keep a job. Not only that, I'm going to prosecute them as I've documented them engaging in kidnapping, engaging in stalking me. As a department, and that's the same with the police department. That's the same with American Medical Response. They're engaging in this while the environment follows into the store where its own co-defendants are subject to prison for what is established as stalking as an entity, which is psychopathic, meaning they are a threat to national security, and so is the existence of every corporate entity, every corporate actor that's engaging in it, such as Southwest Airlines, such as Stater Brothers, all right, such as Vos Church. That's not a legitimate church. It's engaging in surveillance, and that's where the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct in concert with the government. All right, and so that's what's relevant, and that's the significance of it. The fake sun does follow to the venue of Stater Brothers, the Ontario Village Shopping Center, which is already the case. My pattern of conduct, the pattern of conduct, as I'm showing you, is the evidence, which is speaking to the ability for any American citizen to enforce their rights against the public entity that's engaging in a pattern of conduct that is well understood. And so no one is having to maintain the burden of keeping 8-9 years of evidence to prove that the government is stalking you and that you're not hallucinating and that the government is lying about your character, that you're not a criminal, that the government is actually the one that's accusing you of what they try to frame you for, that you're not mentally ill, that you don't take medication, that you were kidnapped, that you weren't arrested legitimately, that that police department is harassing you, that they're actually mentally ill, that they're demons, and that you're not crazy making up, throwing in some weird religious information while they are in fact stalking. The pattern of conduct is establishing all that, and you don't have to establish all that upon what the P.O.C. provides for anyone seeking to enforce their rights, especially as the United States is established as a terrorist. Alrighty, this is the P.O.C. at 646 West Holt Boulevard. The entity is gang stalking, and Frontier Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, and Southwest Airlines are engaging in that while arriving at the venue. This is the pattern of conduct. Everybody inside is Stater Brothers, and those that are outside right now stalking while the entity is flying over by by a smaller government plane while they are stalking in the path, engaging in the same P.O.C. with Griffith Company. This is the entity that's going to prison. So this is the same employees, this is the same venue, this is the same pattern of conduct under the fake sun. You saw all of that. These are the mentally ill that are going to prison. All right, that's the P.O.C. It is currently 6:25 a.m. and Stater Brothers is going to be defunded, meaning this is a terrorist that's not keeping all of its profits. Remember, Stater Brothers has been profiting off of targeting me for years, and no terrorist can pay their way out of being a prosecuted terrorist. You can't pay your way out of that, and this is not a civil case, it's a criminal case, and you cannot afford the damages. That's by design. You can't pay your way out of being a terrorist. But nonetheless, these are ignoramuses that are being prosecuted, creatures, literally, stalking, and it's currently the current time is 6:26 a.m. where the entity is stalking, and you can hear the amplified plane activity where Griffith Company is maintaining surveillance, monitoring around the perimeter, engaging in light activity with the employees and the demons who are the people of the state. It's the identical pattern of conduct while you're looking at them stalking while I'm coming to the Stater Brothers. What is Stater Brothers doing? The P.O.C., including in the bathroom, which is what I documented yesterday. You're being prosecuted while you're stalking me in a bathroom. You're being committed, in fact, while you're stalking me in a bathroom. This is the P.O.C. It's 6:26 a.m. All right, this demon, I just wanted to stop and start so you can see the point. He's waiting until I end the video. This is what the demons do via aircraft. License 7 Charlie Kelly Sam 778 is going to prison. This is monitoring with impunity, and it's also Stater Brothers monitoring with impunity. They're engaging in surveillance, lying in wait, and monitoring with the military that flew over the parking lot. They're engaging in this in the face of federal prison. That's relevant mental illness conduct. You're so psychotic and obsessed and you don't care about the consequences, and I don't even know your name, okay? You don't even know how much of an amazing person I am to be stalking me in the first place, and you're definitely gang stalking. This is the entity that's being committed. That's the entity that starts as ignition as I stop recording the video. That's called stalking with activity, where the fake sun rises and sets, where the military just flew over the entrance. Yes, that's the P.O.C. by a demon. David Quinones is gang stalking, and he's going to prison, and so are all of the employees. This is P.O.C. Now I will conclude the video documentation. It's currently 6:27 a.m. P.O.C. Okay, this is documentation, relevant context, and the significance, the probative value is weighed based upon the existence of impossible light activity in the bathroom, the ongoing targeting by the U.S. military and the people of the state, the impossible light activity in the hallway outside of the bathroom, the impossible light activity throughout the grocery store, including even as I stand in line, I cannot avoid being targeted with flashing impossible light activity that's on the ceiling and on the walls and accosting me as I walk in and out of the entrances. The fake sun that is present from morning until evening after 5 p.m. The entity is monitoring my vagina, and this is what you need to know about Stater Brothers, the gang stalking grocery store, the corporate entity. Stater Brothers is being prosecuted as a sex offender, and the entity is gang stalking at register number 1. The sex offenders yesterday that were engaging in this sex offense in relevant position to me, they were captured in images, and this is the ongoing pattern of conduct by all the employees, and this is why the entity is maintaining presence in that environment based on what is monitoring in the bathrooms, as opposed to your looking at a grocery store, which is a crime scene, and assessing that everything is happening by
necessity, randomly even, also even based on the way in which the grocery store was even built and structured, which the employees themselves have nothing to do with. All of that is an illusion. Okay, the entity is constructing these establishments, number one, with gang stalking in mind, targeting in mind, including targeting in a bathroom. Secondly, Engineer Light is covering the inside and outside of the venue, which is speaking to intentional malicious conduct, which is sexually motivated monitoring in a bathroom. With that being said, the entity is monitoring my vagina, and Stater Brothers personnel utilize the PA system to engage in that. They do the same thing with the store alarm. They do the same thing while the demons pace in and out of the adjacent restroom, stalking in the hallway, all manner of noise creation. But I want to document this because I'm going to prosecute, and you, witnesses, need to know the sex offender that is your local grocery store keeping you under surveillance. Here in California, in San Bernardino County, it is Stater Brothers, headquartered in San Bernardino, and this is the demise of this terrorist that is operating as a corporation under the name of Stater Brothers Markets. As my vagina is exposed, my legs are spread apart. The entity engages in what is amplifying the sound of the register, which is in the grocery store, while I'm in the bathroom, which is inside of the hallway. And as I am subject to that monitoring of my vagina in a private space with all of the entity that just followed me to this bathroom, the sex offender then engages in what is using that as impossible as and as hyperbolized as that activity is. You're going to prosecute demons for their sexually motivated criminal acts of terrorism. It's terrorism when they're stalking with impossible light. It's terrorism while they are literally stalking in planes and helicopters, but it's terrorism while they do so under a fake sun. It's terrorism while they are stalking you with amplified audible activity. This is demonic, it's witchcraft, but it's proven also with tangible evidence, and therein lies the evidence that it's going to have the entity committed, and you're going to prosecute for psychological torture. So the entity is engaging this in the bathroom and using the PA system at the moment that I am exposed, and my vagina is exposed, and all of the demons inside of the grocery store and outside of the grocery store and above the grocery store are sharing in that joint knowledge. And this ritual, which is relevant to a sex crime, which is the ritualistic behavior of demons that are monitoring you and your privacy, which they are obsessed with. They sexually violate you in ways in which you're ignorant about while they are stalking and monitoring you, keeping you, including your genitalia, under surveillance for no legitimate purpose whatsoever. Remember, this is beyond criminal activity. If you wanted to follow me around and see what I'm doing all day long, this is you being in the bathroom monitoring what's between my legs, which there's nothing, it's beyond being just a criminal. These are sex offenders, and the entity is engaging in what is sex offenses as mentally ill creatures who are not human, obsessed with your genitalia. This is what you need to know about these non-humans. And Stater Brothers is using the PA system. In the same way you're hearing what is impossible audible activity, the faucet cannot be heard through the walls. The faucet is not creating any sort of impact through the walls. Flushing of the toilet doesn't do that. And that's giving you context about what they also did with the PA system. While these sex offenders who are all going to prison, the entire workforce of the Stater Brothers is going to prison, they are monitoring my vagina together, which is getting to damages that Stater Brothers cannot afford. And while they're monitoring the evidence, that's what this is. While this entity, Stater Brothers, was stalking me by helicopter last night, so you know that they're already guilty. The entities engage in this frequency of activity creation while I'm describing their sex acts committed against me. And the entity is using the PA system pursuant to that same real-time knowledge as well pertaining to my vagina. And while the stalker is at the register and the stalkers are making a purchase at that register, they are together committing the sex act on surveillance cameras. And the entity that utilizes the PA system to make an announcement, which is audible activity, which they use to surround me and my vagina that they're keeping under surveillance. And this is the entity's sexually perverted mindset and everything that's occurring, activity that's created in the grocery store that's tailored to and centered on my vagina in the bathroom that's being violated by demons. Okay, I want to make sure that that's clear. This is relevant to the details that I expose about sex offenders that go under corporations such as Stater Brothers. And this is, in fact, the inability to compensate for terrorism such that you're going to survive a prosecution. This is the murder of Stater Brothers that first sought to conspire my murder. Okay, they're monitoring my vagina, and they use the PA system with regard to what is private activity in the bathroom, stalking me with audible noise in the engineered light that's in the bathroom. That's why you're using the PA system. At the time that you're doing it, i.e. my vagina. And you're engaging in that while Kia is the African-American female, not my sister, a creature, stalking, and a lesbian, Okay, living her life as a heterosexual woman, I surmise, has children, talks about them all the time, is gang stalking and monitoring my vagina in the bathroom right now. Okay, these aren't humans, these are demons that are posing as humans, and I am, through the P.O.C, prosecuting and making that very clear and plain to you. That's why the entity was stalking me by planes to this venue, to this bathroom, by the way. It is currently 6:42 a.m. This is the details, the chronicles of the sexual violence committed by the corporate actors, Stater Brothers, and it is also the basis for unprecedented damages. This is P.O.C. It is 6:42 a.m.
Alrighty, this is Salvador. I want to get that. Running away. Approaching me in the store and telling me something that he did not clarify. He said, I've been posting and putting nasty things on the internet, which I don't know when Stater Brothers is looking at something that's being posted on the internet, but this is the P.O.C. Let me go ahead and get this really quick. And I believe that's also a threat to engaging in criminal summoning. Hi, Kia. Can I speak with... He ran away. Is that Salvador? Oh, Edgar? Can you call him back down, please? This is the entity that makes allegations and then doesn't want to tell me what you're talking about, because this is getting to the entity that's engaging in the very allegations in the first place and making specific allegations about what I'm doing on my phone when I'm in the bathroom posting. This is what he's doing, and and then running away and not asking me, wait, what are you talking about? And anybody's going to ask exactly what is it you're talking about and what did I post and what is my name? What's my name while you're telling me what I'm posting on the internet? This is the 6:46 a.m. This is Stater Brothers. That's engaging in criminal summoning. Or the threat to engage in criminal summoning while I'm asking why you're excluding me from the store. This is the P.O.C. And all of this is lawful as well while the entity is giving me inexplicably targeting me inside of the store, because it is inexplicable when you're not monitoring on the internet and on my device. And while the entity, the military, is stalking in the parking lot. Were you able to call him, Kia? Yeah, he's on his way. He just went upstairs though, didn't he? Oh, okay, thank you. This is monitoring in real time in Engineer Light. And he's very upset while he's speaking to things that he must have factual evidence of, which would require your specific knowledge of who I am, which is also getting to the P.O.C. in the first place. Okay. Well, alrighty. Is he coming down, or are you calling the police and sending them here? No. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure, because I'm asking him about why I was just told. Is there another manager available? It's the only one on duty. Edgar, right? Oh, okay, Edgar. This is P.O.C. and I'm talking to Kia. He just runs upstairs, but he's not coming back down. This is the entity that's, again, I'm wrong and I've engaged in egregious conduct and they want to exclude me from the store and they don't want to come back and tell me why. This is the same pattern of conduct? This is the same P.O.C.? This is the one that's using the PA system to monitor my vagina and is monitoring every move that I make and is speaking to, are you guys aware of me posting something on the internet? That's what Edgar said. Oh, okay. I would find that interesting. I don't know where you are on social media. You should add me as a friend. This is where they're at. They're all going to prison. This is P.O.C. It's 6:49 a.m. And what's so funny is he ran up while I didn't have my phone out and then ran off. They're very much like roaches, and then doesn't want to come back on camera to be addressed. But you're making the allegation, though. The allegation itself is evidence of surveillance, because what are you talking about? Who is on my social media? And who knows who I am, my name? Okay, key is at register number 1, all right, but
knowing my social media, and why would you even go to social media? And you're also, when you're in custody of your phone, there's so many assumptions here that I'm engaging in what is a specific use of my phone and publishing it on the internet. Like, all of that is an assumption. While you're engaging and then excluding me based on those assumptions. This is the entity that is monitoring evidence that it is keeping under surveillance and engaging in the very allegations. In other words, this is Stater Brothers, and this is the entity that's already going to prison in the first place. They're humiliated while they're being documented of doing things such as monitoring vagina in the bathroom and engaging in that, which is a threat regarding the stalkers of the Ontario Police, the stalkers, the ones that are stalking by helicopter at your grocery store. That's the entity that you are threatening me with while you are refusing to come back downstairs and address what you just said, and you didn't want to say it on camera. Okay, well, you don't even have to be on camera. I'm going to maintain my record of you targeting me, though, where apparently you have some sort of idea about what's going on with my device, and you're referencing social media. Where is Stater Brothers on social media? That's what I'm perplexed by. And then he runs off just like a demon, okay, fleeing the scene. This is the P.O.C. It's 6:50 a.m. You have, no ability to get any sort of assistance here. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, I did request. It's been 5 minutes. Okay, well, I'm in the midst of trying to make a purchase, but this is the entity engaging in that pattern of conduct. I don't understand. The inexplicable targeting inside of the store while you're engaging in what is refusing to provide any information as to what is happening. This is Kia, who I did ask to call. And they're up here looking at me. So if I'm engaging in such egregious conduct, you should come and let me know what egregious conduct I'm engaging in. What is it that I'm committing for you to exclude me from the store? That's all I'm stating. This is the P.O.C. Would you like to tell me about where I'm posting this social media, this content, with the horrible things that I'm saying? Kia, did I say something horrible to you? Kia? No, we're going silent now. I didn't say anything horrible to her. But they're referring to, I would like to know, good morning. Are you able to, I know you just clocked in, maybe get a manager? Because I asked Kia and she's not talking to me now. Can you get a manager or something? Yeah, she goes from getting the manager to not addressing a question. That's very important. This is Matt, right? This is Matt. Did I say something horrible to Matt as well? Because this is what Edgar said. I'm stating things about customers that are horrible. What am I stating? Who did I state it to? And where is this that it's posted online? This is the entity that's admittedly engaging in surveillance. Understand that. Is that no, Matt? No? Oh, okay. That's fine. Matt is refusing to get a manager. This is P.O.C. Stater Brothers doesn't have any legitimate position with regard to a criminal prosecution and with regard to a civil suit for this very conduct as well. Not only engaging in the pattern of conduct, but then targeting upon being documented. This is the P.O.C. and engaging in what is making unwarranted allegations and then running away. That's also not helping you in a civil suit. This is speaking to the very allegations and also exacerbating your circumstances and an unsuccessful criminal prosecution brought against you. It's wow. Okay, this is the entity that is walking away. Yeah, somebody else. This was so funny. While they're monitoring, they're pacing all around. But when I'm looking for a manager, oh wait, I'm sorry. He said it so fast and ran away and was so unwilling to wait. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The entity is always speaking to what is naturally occurring, and when I'm walking in and saying good morning to everybody, that's not gang stalking, right? And also, I'm not documenting what's not happening as well. So when is it that I am speaking or saying nasty things to you that you have proof of? And when I said that, why didn't you say anything? He walks up to me while I'm holding a chicken pot pie about to make a purchase. So are you talking about that which you're monitoring in the bathroom right now? About you vagina monitoring? Is that what you're referring to, Edgar? Should I just wait here, Kia, or what? Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Kia is monitoring as well, but this is the entity that doesn't want to address what was stated, but I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. This is where the supervisor are watching me on camera, and this is where the military is engaging in what is harassment with Stater Brothers. And Edgar is the specific state actor that's engaging in what is walking up to me inside of the grocery store that is filled, by the way, with engineer light. All right, this is the entity that is monitoring. This is the P.O.C, where Edgar is with knowledge, as I'm not in operation of a cell phone, so you feel comfortable, not too comfortable, because if I pull it out, then you're going to flee. But off camera is engaging in what is making an allegation about my posting, quote, nasty things about his employees. I don't know who these employees are. Kia is not stating anything, Matt's not saying anything, and no employee. Are you talking about Lupe? What is it that I said, or who is it that you're referring to? Because I haven't spoken to Edgar, but this is an entity that's engaging referring to that which they should not have any knowledge of, but for monitoring, for example, like in the bathroom. And you're also referencing social media. And then you're speaking to what is excluding me from the venue, and that is enforceable how? By the stalkers who are the Ontario Police Department, who are targeting with the military as well. These are the tactics employed by the entity that is in fact guilty of criminal surveillance. And because Stater Brothers is humiliated, like the demons are, engaging in stalking with demons like 8YNC992, who show you to be a stalker as well, are engaging in that pattern of conduct, and harassment is not the answer. This is what the entity always resorts to, and you're going to prison for it. And this is also clear on its face because you refuse to come and answer my question about what, pray tell, are you even talking about? What are you even talking about? And he flees before and not permits me to ask a question about what he's talking about. Because when you're walking up to anybody and telling them, for example, to leave the store, of course they're going to be like, well, why? What happened? What are you talking about? What happened? What precipitated this? This is exactly what the OVITT Family Community Library did, and they did that while they were gang stalking in real time. That literal circumstance was gang stalking, and they did so upon manufacturing, engineering, when nothing happened, in fact, whatsoever. In fact, they were monitoring while I was documenting the P.O.C. in the bathroom here at Stater Brothers. And the entity that is triggered, meaning fearful of the evidence that's against them at the OVITT Family Community Library. Remember, that was March 3rd, 2026. Okay? This is the P.O.C., however, and this is the entity that's engaging in gang stalking. And I want to be clear, Stater Brothers is very much a company that has murdered itself, aided me in the demise of this company, including by targeting me. This is not looking like you're innocent of the allegations. This is looking like you're knowledgeable about what is being documented about you. You even made an admission again about social media, which is the ongoing conduct by the entity at the OVITT Family Community Library, where you are targeting on the internet. I have how many subscribers? How do you know my name, my handle? It's not under my name. What is it that you're talking about in the first place, outside of what is admitting that you are the entity that's monitoring? Okay, and clearly when you don't want to come back downstairs to answer a common sense question and fleeing and don't want to be on documented engaging in that threat, that's relevant to the entity that's gang stalking me, and I was just trying to get a chicken pot pie. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. I will come back and document the entity that's engaging in targeting. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. And David Quinones. Do you know when David Quinones is coming in? You say he should be on his way? Oh, okay. David Quinones is over Edgar. Edgar is the assistant, I believe, or like the manager underneath David Quinones, and they're both gang stalking. But the entity, I'm going to document David Quinones engaging in the pattern of conduct. I would like for the entity to be documented excluding me, and the entity is typically doing this behind the demons who are the Ontario Police Department. All right. I just want to show you what is a pattern. The entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct is doing so while they are, I just want to be clear, engaging in things that are extreme. How often do you hear that someone's being excluded from a library? How often do you hear that someone's going to the library engaging in what is conduct, behavior, criminal activity that's so egregious that they have to be barred by the police from the library, let alone from a grocery store? This is the entity that's engaging in monitoring. This is what this is letting you know, especially with regard to the entity that's fully aware that it's being investigated. And while you're doing this in front of the federal government, I just want to be clear, the federal government's going to raid this venue and you're going to prison for that which you're already convicted of. You're already found guilty. So this is the entity that's engaging in targeting me, harassing me because you are embarrassed about engaging in things such as vagina monitoring. Thank you, Kia. I'll just come back. I'll speak with David. This is the entity that's engaging that with the people of the state. This is monitoring. This is the same parking lot where Southwest Airlines is flying over the top of my head. And while you're trying to run up and speak to that which you are engaging in criminally, with reference to making an admission about my social media, you're monitoring my social media. That how does any Stater Brothers employee know? And second of all, this is all of it. My social media is entirely legitimate, appropriate, and lawful. You're engaging in criminal activity. The question is, wait, why are you referring to social media? How do you know about that, Edgar? Who told you that? And who is it? Which social media is it where I'm referring to Stater Brothers? All right, and he was particularly insulted while you are the one monitoring vagina. These are the psychopaths that are stalking all night by helicopter. Look at the playlist for Stater Brothers, hundreds and hundreds of video evidence. This is the entity engaging in that, and this is the video that's combined with the other one because my other battery ran out. This is a continuation. It was literally like 15 seconds in between. This is capturing the entity engaging what is harassment, targeting, and it's the ongoing evidence of the very pattern of conduct. It is the pattern of conduct. There's no protecting demons that are gang stalking. David Quinones is monitoring, and they're engaging in monitoring in the bathroom, and then they're making allegations about social media, things that you should not know of, but for engaging in the pattern of conduct. But you already know that, because Edgar's working under a fake sun, making allegations that they cannot explain away, especially while UPS and Southwest, they're doing cartwheels right here over the parking lot, targeting me. While you're engaging what is harassing me, and you don't want to come downstairs and answer me a question as to why you are hounding me in the aisle while I'm trying to decide whether I want to buy a chicken pot pie, whether or not it's poisoned or not. This is the entity that's targeting me. You're poisoning my food and referring to my social media because you are targeting. This is the P.O.C. That's the entity that seeks to engage in what is intimidation tactics. They're all going to prison. And because you're going to prison and because you don't like that I'm detailing your use of the PA system while you keep my vagina between my legs under surveillance, that is not changing what you are guilty of. I'm going to make sure that everybody knows what Stater Brothers is, a sex offender, and they're hostile to your rights, okay? Because you don't like what you're doing being exposed. I don't care about any of that. And if you were innocent, that you would come out and speak to what it is that you are alleging. That you must have information of pertaining to what is monitoring, period. Which is proven in the specific environment. But the entity that's engaging in treating you like you are a bank robber at the city library and at the grocery store, that's the entity that's monitoring, and they're humiliated while they are being exposed as gang stalking vagina monitors, period. That was Edgar. He's going to prison. And so is every other employee, including Kia, who doesn't want to answer. Did I say something horrendous to you, Kia? Did I say something offensive to you? Kia was silent. That was on video, okay? Now, when I'm insulting you and I'm saying something to your face, I talk to her every day while she's monitoring me, gang stalking me at register number 1, okay? Again, just like at OVITT Family Community Library, nothing happened, nothing precipitated, and you're referring to evidence that you're keeping under surveillance, proving the very fact of that criminal activity while I'm in the bathroom stall in the first place. P.O.C. It is currently 7:03 a.m. This is the evidence of the entity that is guilty, and they engage in these criminal acts which are inexplicable. They are unintelligent concessions by demons that don't have any self-control and they don't have a strategy. And I want to be clear, the entity that's stalking me under the fake sun, under the fake moon, engaging in the pattern of conduct with regard to helicopter activity over my head, flying in circles, even while I gang stalk by the Stater Brothers in Fontana and in Ontario at the same time, while both of those venues are also engaged in poisoning products that I purchase, while the entity is engaged in what is terrorism with the commercial airline industry. Edgar is going to prison. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is, again, engaging in what is conduct that they are keeping under surveillance, and that's the pattern of conduct. Here's the Ontario police that have been waiting for me to walk in this direction the entire time, under the fake sun, that you know is where they're on this same street after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the P.O.C. They're on the same street. That is San Antonio, on the same street, waiting for me to walk in order to walk. These are stalkers. 1644199. This is the P.O.C. That's vehicle number 1055. That was audible activity under the fake sun. The absence of any authority under the law. Okay? License 9GWJ314. This is the P.O.C. That was a threat uttered under the fake sun by the demons that are on. You can look at X right now while they're stalking under the fake sun. And this is the entity that's uttering a threat. Excuse me, what was that? What's your name? Rodriguez? You already know who I am, Rodriguez? You already know who I am? Nobody wants to explain what he's talking about, but Rodriguez is yelling out that threat. Come back to Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers, that's gang stalking. Well, I just want to be clear. The one that is guilty of the allegations is not coming downstairs. It's not talking about what is it that I said to any of the employees while Rodriguez is stating what? What is it? Repeat that threat again. It's a trespass on what grounds? They're excluding me? Because they're excluding me, right? They're allowed to be while they're gang stalking with the Ontario Police. Rodriguez, what's your badge number? He's going to prison. They're all going to prison. This is the P.O.C. That's the entity that's engaging in gang stalking, and because they want to exclude you while they are monitoring you, they are engaging in stalking with the Ontario Police, who are already exposed under Rudy Lopez and Mike Lorenz and Derek Williams. This is the pattern of conduct. Okay, and you're engaging in exclusion inexplicably because you're hostile to documentation of you being a gang stalker. And these are demons pacing in and out of the entrance. This is pathetic. These are demons. They're monitoring. These are demons monitoring under the fake sun. This is the P.O.C. and it's on surveillance cameras as well. This is the P.O.C. The manager doesn't want to come downstairs, and the demon of the Ontario Police waited until I walked in that direction. These are weirdos who are stalking. They engage in deliberate conduct on purpose. Where is the Rodriguez? Where is Edgar? He's the one that called you, right?
No.
Oh, you don't know who called you?
What's going to happen is the managers don't want you here. You refuse to leave, I'm going to place you under arrest for trespassing, okay?
Yeah, do you want to tell me why? Because that's what I was asking.
They don't have to have a reason why. They can just trespass you.
So they can harass me and then you come in enforcement?
It's not harassment. It's called you're going to leave or I'm going to place you under arrest. This is your last warning.
That's, okay,
Last
that's
warning.
literally...
Last warning, let's go.
That's literally harassment. Yes, it is. Oh, we love it. Hadel Shiapani, who's going to prison. This is the end. I'm walking. This is harassment. Listen, you can stop raising your voice, Satan. You don't have any authority. No, you're disrespectful because you think you have a point right now and you don't. You're a vagina monitor. Don't sit here and you're not flexing on anybody. You're stalking and you're scared. And your partner's going to prison. And so are the demons inside of the grocery store. So you're getting a little too excited. Pipe down, Satan. This is under the fake sun. This is under the fake sun while you're engaging in harassment and threatening to commit a kidnapping. That's a kidnapping. Give me your badge number, gangster. Give me your badge number. While he's raising his voice, while you're in the wrong, talking about this not a harassment, it's you don't have a given explanation. This is the pattern of conduct. Hadel's going to prison. She's pathetic. She's under the fake son kidnapping at the OVITT Family Community Library. I'm already in the parking lot. What?
I said keep walking. Have a nice day.
Or what? I'm in the parking lot. I'm going to document you gang stalking.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Because you don't have a job. Your job is being a stalker. You're stalking under a fake sun. This is a creature wearing a gun there, but Hadel's already going to prison. I'm glad you find it entertaining because it's pathetic. This is the fake sun. You're going to see the evidence attached to it of the fake sun over here. This is Stater Brothers making an admission to social media. That they have information of regarding the ones that are gang stalking that are not engaging in policing. They're engaging in what is the ongoing kidnapping pursuant to criminal defamation while I'm in the parking lot documenting their criminal activity, and they're engaging in that with Stater Brothers personnel. All right, that's the entity. They're monitoring in real time with the people of the state. Hadel Shiapani's documented pattern of engaging in kidnapping and criminal defamation is already on the record. License 1644199. And these are the demons at the Ontario Village Shopping Center after 5 p.m. This is the entity that's under the fake sun. It's currently right now 7:08 a.m., 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 hours later. And this is what Stater Brothers is relying on while they're gang stalking. They're going to prison. And this is the pattern of conduct. This is exactly what OVITT Family Community Library engaged in. And they're referring to social media, but for targeting, you're referring to something that you don't have any information about. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. This is 1680786, vehicle 1112. This is the P.O.C. You're not even in the car, Hadel. You're here stalking. You're not going to hit me. You're not even in the vehicle. You're not even in the vehicle. This is the pattern of conduct. These are the demons that are not engaged in law enforcement. They're being prosecuted for terrorists, for treason. This is literally where the military is engaging in stalking in planes and helicopters. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct, and Rodriguez got so excited right now, so I'm going to make sure that they remember that you're going to prison. This is what the entity is engaging in because Stater Brothers is being prosecuted. This is the murder of that corporation. This is the death of that corporation. This is the P.O.C. This is what the entity is doing when they're monitoring and when they are engaging in criminal conduct that they are guilty of. They're guilty. That's why they're engaging in that. And you're not enforcing anything under the law with regard to threatening to commit kidnapping. You're going to prison for that. That's the P.O.C. Where is the pass, the trespass notice? Where's the trespass notice? That's the P.O.C. Where's the trespass notice? Hello. I want you to see that fake son. He's going to prison. Where's the trespass notice? No writing? No written notice about it? You're not writing anything down? You're not going to write anything down? You're not going to write down anything about the trespass? Oh, okay. This is the entity that's always engaging in a threat to engage in criminal summoning in the first place. They're going to prison. This is Ontario Village Shopping Center engaging in that, by the way. The Ontario Village is engaging in criminal summoning. And they're doing so pursuant to the P.O.C. License 8YN-C992 is gang stalking with the Ontario Police. After 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the entity is stalking at the same parking lot. It's after 5 p.m. After 11 a.m., the entity is stalking by helicopter, Southwest Airlines. I have a body of evidence of this being the same criminal pattern of conduct because Stater Brothers is exposed as a vagina monitor. Monitoring in the bathroom, okay? And you're hostile because you're being documented for it, and that's exactly why I do that. Hadel Shapani, she's already going to prison. She's kidnapping June 16, 2022 under the 10:30 a.m. fake sun, the fake sun that's remaining over the Upland Public Library. All right, and including her in this iteration of the criminal pattern of conduct is putting the demons in prison. She's no consistent narrative regarding anything against the target individual. She's going to prison. She's engaging in gang stalking at Vos Church at 303 North Euclid Avenue under the fake sun in the morning, and I went right back to that Vos Church venue at 5 o'clock in the evening. She's going to prison. She's a demon. That's not law enforcement. This is the entity engaging in the P.O.C. This is also the same video, like I stated on video, while you're harassing me and threatening me, and that's why I documented that, because this is an entity, Rodriguez, that's getting to, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and you're supposed to be fearful of it. Remember, this is a spirit. And they engage in what is kidnapping you with less information when you don't know your rights. This is an entity that's merely engaging in, okay, I'm tired of you documenting me, so I'm just going to call the stalkers the Ontario Police. That's literally what Stater Brothers did. They don't have authority under the law. They're not engaged in policing, and the Ontario Police are also aware that they don't have any legitimacy. They're merely engaging in that bullying conduct because they are already convicted while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C., and the coward is hiding up there. He runs away, doesn't want to come back and tell me what employee did I speak to, who did I talk to, who did I say something horrible to, and what social media are you referring to? Of course we don't want to answer those questions. We don't want to answer those questions. This is an entity that's engaging in what is making an admission regarding the gang stalkers. Who are the Ontario Police? You're calling the stalkers? You're going to prison. They're monitoring right now. That's why they're referring to social media, because they're monitoring on the internet. This is the entity that's going to be subject to martial law. That's Rudy Lopez. He is going to prison as a terrorist leader, okay? That's the entity that is engaging in that pattern of conduct with the population. That's what's relevant behind that. And the entities engaging in this, while they, again, have a disdain for referring to when you're talking about, oh, your kid is 5'4" and they were wearing purple socks this morning. Wait. I never even brought my kid here. How do you know that I have a child and what color socks they have on? So anybody's going to ask that common sense question. Where did you get that information from? This is the entity that's engaging in making those sorts of statements about information you don't have access to, but for monitoring, but for that. All right. And why are they engaged in this level of conduct? Comet Electric. Okay, Griffith Company, Sunbelt, gang stalkers under the fake sun at the Stater Brothers. While they're engaging in that P.O.C. Edgar on the inside, Kia on the inside, Matt on the inside, Lupe on the inside, gang stalking upon criminal summoning with the Ontario Police at this same venue after 5 p.m. And that's what I wanted to capture. It is currently 7:13 a.m. This is P.O.C. The entity is a gang stalking, and the entity is doing so with the agency that has no legitimacy, that is proven to be stalking. At this very same street after 5 p.m., the Ontario Police are monitoring, while Carlos at El Pollo Loco is monitoring after 5 p.m. where this fake sun is still over me, and you're making those allegations regarding that which you should not know. For example, my child's purple socks. How do you know what color socks they have on? Why are you referring to social media? Where did you get that from, Edgar? What are you talking about? Hadel Shiapani showing up is the entity's engagement in a pattern of conduct regarding demons that have previously kidnapped you, have previously harassed you. That's a psychological torture tactic. And the entity is engaging in that pursuant to what is harassment. That is not ever going to reflect poorly on the target individual. Hadel's going to prison, and so is A. Rodriguez, who made a series of threats regarding kidnapping. And that is established literally by being present in that environment, monitoring. You just saw the entity engaging in that. This is what Safeguard is engaging in while they are monitoring with the Ontario Police pursuant to criminal summoning as well, referring to what is me sitting outside while the people of the state are always sitting outside. sitting outside in their vehicles, a gang stalking outside on the sidewalk, and that same agency is engaging in criminal summoning, which I documented, saying my name upon arrival, and that's because the entity is engaged in admitted surveillance. Okay, that's the entity's engagement in admitted surveillance. This is the P.O.C. A. Rodriguez is engaged in surveillance. So that demon is engaging in what is stalking in the path, waiting until I walk in this direction to engage in what is crossing path with me. They were waiting the entire time while I was inside of the store, just waiting for me to walk outside and walk in this direction. That's what he wanted to do. These are demons that are very much fearful. Okay, they, in the face of that fear and in the face of the consequences of federal prison and terrorism and being committed, they're engaging in that, and regardless of that. But I just want to be clear, that's why they're engaging in that. They're not walking into the store. They're engaging in what is waiting in the parking lot, waiting for me to walk a certain distance, waiting for me to do a certain thing before you approach me. That's the Ontario police tactic outside. And this is the entity that does not want to come downstairs and tell me, what are you talking about, while you're asking me to leave the store upon what is no event precipitating from that whatsoever. Where you're engaging in what is hallucinating about gang stalking, where you're engaging in what is making it up, you're suffering from paranoia about gang stalking, where the entity is engaging in this conduct in the specific environment and is engaging in surveillance in the private space. This is the entity that's engaging in that as a population. This is the prosecution of the Ontario Village Shopping Center, let alone Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers, this is that demise of that company. And they're triggered because they're listening to that and summoning the gang stalkers like Hidel and A. Rodriguez, who are stalkers. They've been established engaging in what is a pattern of kidnapping and ongoing harassment while I embarrass them, proving them to be demons who are stalking me. Monitoring my vagina inside of the bathroom of the Stater Brothers. This is the P.O.C. to then engage in what is threatening to commit a kidnapping, because that's what you're doing with no authority under the law. And to engage in that is to obstruct justice as well while you're being prosecuted. And this is while the entity is doing so. People think that, such as what Jason Fields, the federal government that's investigating, is not doing anything about. This is that incompetency that's also being addressed. Not doing anything about it, and the ordinary target individual winds up kidnapped, and the federal government is not coming in and stopping that. This is what is going to also be addressed while I'm maintaining this investigation. The entity literally engaged in stalking by commercial plane in this video under the fake sun, which is here 10 hours later, while the entity was at the same time trying to conduct itself as though it is seriously executing the duties of an officer and having actual basis to exclude. You're not when you're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Stater Brothers, including Edgar, Kia, Matt, Lupe, all the demons gang stalking as employees are all going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:17 a.m. where the entity is engaging in that which you heard, that which was described in the bathroom, where Stater Brothers, Ontario Village, the people of the state, the Ontario Police Department are maintaining surveillance of my vagina in that bathroom. And your sexual violence is going to be used against you, which is relevant to your mental illness. The mental illness that results in criminal summoning, when you are the criminal. Literally wearing a police suit, and it's not Halloween, but they're dressing up as though they have authority every day while the fake sun remains over me and follows me to another city, remaining for the duration of the day. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:17 a.m. That is, again, Edgar. Edgar is engaging in what is harassment. And remember, serial stalker 8YNC992 and her stalking by the people of the state, it's also referencing stalking by Stater Brothers. These are territorial demons who engage in targeting based on the venue where you document them, and then they follow you around every other place while they're triggered as you document. This is ongoing relevant context. That's only why I'm bringing her up. She's a serial stalker with Stater Brothers, and she's engaging in that pattern of kind of while the entity is harassing me and targeting me with third parties like that, and then making references to things such as, again, the color of my socks. And when did you see my socks? Like, so why are you referring to what happened? Where did social media come from? And who is it that I spoke to about and making horrible comments? Because it's not Kia. What did I say to Kia? When she's checking me out every day at the grocery store. This is the entity that doesn't answer those questions because they don't have an answer to it. All right? They are engaged in what is monitoring in the bathroom, and they don't like how they're being described. They don't like that. While they are, in fact, engaging in monitoring. License plate. 5 Victor 18308. This is P.O.C. Ontario Village Shopping Center engaging in criminal summoning with the people of the state. P.O.C. Alrighty, the entity that's engaging in what is serial stalking by plane and helicopter at the venue is engaged in criminal summoning, as I documented, initiated by Edgar. and which is Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers, that is already convicted. The level of evidence and the entity engaged in that. Again, the level of evidence against the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police, the level of evidence against the gang stalkers of the Ontario Village Shopping Center and Stater Brothers, and the entity engaged in the provision of evidence against the entity. This is showing how what is a surveillance system operates, not law enforcement upon actual criminal conduct or activity outside of the bounds of the law is underway. This is an entity that's engaged in obstruction of justice while they are hostile to being prosecuted and spoken in true terms regarding what you are. You monitor surveillance in the bathroom, and you monitor surveillance in the bathroom while you're including it through the operations of your store. And your demons actually who are monitoring, who are violent sex offenders, and you're humiliated by that truth being spoken. That truth that you are keeping under surveillance on my social media, which you admit to unintelligently. And this is the thing that you don't want to respond to when someone asks you a common sense question about, well, if you are not, and I didn't state that prefacing my question, but the question goes, if you're not engaging in monitoring me and surveilling me, what social media are you talking about? And if you're not targeting me, who did I say something horrible to in the store? When did this happen? Remember what OVITT Family Community Library stated? That I was in the bathroom on March 2nd and that I was recording someone in the bathroom. And on March 2nd, my evidence shows, and it's the absence of me, I document when the entity is stalking in the bathroom. Okay. On March 2nd in particular, no stalker went into the bathroom engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity was monitoring the bathroom, however. But on March 2nd, OVITT Family Community Library is absent any evidence speaking to what they alleged. Remember, the entity is monitoring, so they are trying to put together what are information, but actually they're not trying very hard. They're literally just like, man, whatever, I'm tired of you calling me a vagina monitor, and we're going to kick you out. We're just going to try to make up something, and it doesn't even make any sense, and it's on its face. This is what I'm always showing you, because they are actually monitoring. But nonetheless, the entity is supposed to be showing that they're innocent. So you should be engaging in what is removing someone from the venue, not because you have a right to harass them. That's a lawsuit. But nonetheless, this is not just harassment, it's targeting, gang stalking with the intent to obstruct justice, while you're then admitting that you're engaging in what is harassment, because that's exactly what why are you excluding me from the store, and then you're coming, and if you come, he yells it out the window, already identifying me, knows exactly who I am. This is another demon. A. Rodriguez, never met him before, speaks directly to me, knows exactly who I am. Criminal summoning last time with the demons with Safeguard National, never saw the one demon that said my name, never saw him before, never met him before. This is the demon that's engaging in what is the pattern of conduct. They're engaging in surveillance. They don't have to admit knowledge by saying my name. You know this while even in their silence. Look at the fake sun over my head while they're wearing uniforms and guns as though they have authority. These are demons that are listening to them being described while they're committing the criminal activity, and the demons are triggered by it. They engage in more criminal conduct, proving that they are engaged in the allegations of federal stalking. And you're engaged in federal stalking in a bathroom. You're a violent sex offender. You're gross. You're beyond weird, you're demonic, and you're a pervert, and you are doing so as a corporate entity that's profiting. While demons are making purchases, you're monitoring my vagina, and you're humiliated. That level of exposing them is humiliating to them. And so you engage in criminal summoning. It doesn't even make any sense. This is why he rattles it out. Edgar rattles it out. He said it so fast. Okay, I'm sorry, what? What happened? What? He's running away already. And he did so while he felt safe enough to roll that out real quick, run upstairs while I did not have a phone in operation. Understand that. And then waiting for me to walk outside of the store for the entity to be on, in the parking lot to approach me and then say, okay, now that you're out, stay out. If you go back in, you're going to be arrested. This is the entity that is engaging in criminal summoning. It's the identical pattern of conduct. Sean Thrasher going to prison. David Quinones going to prison. This is the entity that's engaging in this P.O.C. while they are being proven as stalkers. That's exactly what the entity is doing on an ongoing systematic basis. 1644199, vehicle 1055. This is the entity listening to me analyze A. Rodriguez walking back, gang stalking. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. How can I help you?
Hey, Erica, can you take a seat on the car, please?
For what?
You're detained.
For what?
I'll tell you in a second, but you're going to sit down.
Well, you should tell me what your
It's fine,
authority
you have 3
is.
warrants for arrest. Just take a seat.
You say how many?
3.
3 warrants for arrest? Oh, okay. This is the entity. 3 warrants for arrest by the entity that's gang stalking. Warrants for what?
Unlawful camping.
Where?
Out of, I'm guessing, Ontario. But they're all $25,000 bills.
$25,000 bills?
$25,000 in bail.
Oh, and bail. I thought you said bills. Okay.
Yeah.
From, you're talking about Hazelwood? Oh, is that how you're stating you know my name? You knew I had a you knew I had a warrant when you drove up and then you left?
I did, and then I ran your name and I...
You ran my name after you left? Oh, okay. And that's how you knew my name beforehand, though. You ran my name for warrants before you approached me? When you drove up from this way when I was walking outside? You already knew who I was?
Yep.
Okay, and how's that?
Because, I don't know, maybe you cause constant issues.
Of course, that's what he's always going to say, under the fake sun.
Take it off your backpack.
Take it off my... What are you going to do with the warrants? Are you going to arrest me now?
Going to jail.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to search, here you go. This is the entity that's engaging. That's Craig Hazelwood.
Take this.
Hey, you don't have to snatch my property like
You're under
that.
arrest.
Okay.
Stand by back. There you go.
All right, this is kidnapping. Craig Hazelwood and Owens commit kidnapping pursuant to the municipal code while they're engaging in targeting in order to have you in a homeless state, and then they commit kidnapping. This is the P.O.C. While they're engaging in the pattern of conduct and they're fearful of the videos going on the internet. That's literally what this is. This is P.O.C. A. Rodriguez is going to prison. Okay. He's stating my name before he, quote unquote, he admitted right now, before he ran any check, he already stated my name, which is the pattern by these demons, gang stalking with the Ontario Village Shopping Center under the fake sun where they're on the same street. What else, Rodriguez? You put the handcuffs on me. What else?
Yeah, you're going to tilt for a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Stay seated. All right, how much of your property you want to go
This is all
with
auto
you?
activity he's monitoring. How much of it?
I'm saying, do you want all of it? Do you want some of it to go not with you? What do you want to do with your property? Because it's going to get booked into safekeeping, okay?
So I only need...
I just can't bring in like the perishable stuff, so if you have any water and juice, I can't bring that.
Look, I want my jacket, my coat right there. My coat, please take my coat.
And you want a beanie?
I'll take my beanie. You can put that on me instead of this hat.
Instead of the hat?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And
Hey, just want
my-
to make sure there's nothing in your hair and all that stuff. Cool. All right. If you bring anything into our jail, it's gonna be a felony. Okay.
Okay. My wallet is in that backpack. Can you take it out?
Well, yeah, of course.
And my phone,
Where's that wallet?
it's in there. You can. He's searching. Just want to be clear, it's an unlawful search.
It's not an unlawful search. It's called
unlawful
search incident to
and
arrest.
you cannot consent to it when you're engaging in monitoring.
Okay.
Hadel already knew who I was. By the way, there's my wallet.
Yep.
Hadel, they're monitoring, so they're coming back engaging in what is kidnapping while they listen to me analyze the
go, runner.
POC. Okay. But there's my wallet and this bag right there. That's all I want to take, Rodriguez. If you're listening. He asked me what I want to take. That plastic bag, my wallet, and actually my hat, not my beanie.
Your hat?
My hat instead of, I don't want my beanie, my hat.
Okay, and what plastic bag?
That black plastic bag right there.
This one?
This wallet.
Okay.
And my phone. That phone and this phone that's on me right here, and there's another phone in there.
Okay.
So can you get this wallet back here?
I'm gonna grab your wallet.
And that's pretty much, yeah, that hat I want. And this phone here, you can take this. Actually, can you turn it off? Hold on. Is it on? Oh, it's, I think it's off already. No, it's off. It's okay. Just want to make sure.
I'm gonna turn your other one off too, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Can you read the
No,
time?
no, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Can you read the time? That one should, oh no,
It is.
that one is on.
So it's not showing.
You can long press it. It's probably too dim for you to see. Okay, hold on. Oh, there it is. Hold on.
Would you mind getting a better search on it?
Let's see.
Turning off
Sorry.
phones.
Oh, perfect. I would hate
Alrighty,
for it to
it
run
is
out of battery, 'cause
currently-
I do enjoy your YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm glad you're making an admission about social media.
Well, yeah,
Wait, I
that
think your finger is
publicly
like
posted.
doing
I see
something
it.
with the